Welcome to Elizabeth's Chronicles. If you enjoy true crime stories, consider subscribing. At around 9:30 p.m., on Monday, May 10, 2021, offers were sent to 300 block of Hilltop Drive, right off of Warwick Boulevard, for a woman in distress. When officers arrived at the apartment, they found a 10-month-old baby, Zell Howard, and an 8-year-old girl, Winter Ganoe, stabbed multiple times. Police administered first aid to the children, but the 10-month-old baby died on the scene. The 8-year-old girl was taken to the hospital, then flown to Norfolk, for emergency treatment. Newport News Police Chief, Steve Drew, said in an interview that both of them were stabbed multiple times. He said, "All over their body. We're not dealing with an adult body, right? We're dealing with an 8-year-old. A 10-month-old. Any stab wound is critical." Drew said officers immediately gave aid, trying to talk to both children, to calm them, to reassure them, Drew said. The compassion they showed was impeccable. Drew added that the officers who went across the threshold and into that apartment, the things they saw, they will remember for the rest of their careers. He went on to say Ganoe, their mother, was at the home when officers arrived. She was arrested immediately, and taken to the hospital for treatment, for superficial injuries inflicted when injuring her children. Sarah Whitney Ganoe, age 35, sent her fiancé, John Howard, the father of her 10-month-old boy, an ominous text message on the night the tragedy happened. Sarah Ganoe told him in the text not to be sad, but the house would be bloody when he got home, according to a criminal complaint filed Wednesday in Newport News Juvenile and Domestic Relations District Court. Howard left work, the complaint said, and immediately called 911 on the way home. He reached the Hilltop Drive residence before police and medics. After entering the home, John Howard observed a large amount of blood in numerous rooms, the complaint said. He then located Sarah Ganoe, and both children, lying on the bed in the master bedroom. Ganoe's 8-year-old daughter was determined to have at least 50 stab wounds throughout her body, including evisceration to her abdomen. The injuries to the girl initially were thought to be life-threatening, the complaint said. But she was listed in critical but stable condition after being flown to the Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters in Norfolk. Police said investigators found a pocket knife with a 2.5-inch blade at the scene. The criminal complaint, by Newport News Police Detective Brittany Beggs, said the mother had superficial stab wounds. She was arrested, taken to Riverside Regional Medical Center for treatment, then to police headquarters. Court paperwork used as part of the bail process, said Sarah Ganoe has lived in Hampton Roads for 25 years, and had no prior criminal charges. She had a misdemeanor larceny charge in 2006, when she was 20 though. The bail paperwork said Ganoe worked part-time at a local sandwich shop for about 4 weeks, with an arrest log saying she was a delivery driver. Ganoe's Facebook page said she attended Warwick High School, and studied art at Thomas Nelson Community College. The principal of Lee Hall Elementary School, where the 8-year-old attends, said students and staff are leaning on each other to make it through this tragedy. Sirata Fox, a counselor at Lee Hall, said the girl is bubbly, always joyful, happy, always singing. She would compliment you on anything, Fox said. "Oh, that's a nice shirt, and your hair is so beautiful, and I love you." If we brought a new student into the classroom, she would automatically go up to the student and introduce her, Fox went on to say. She's just like an abundance of joy, and you never see her upset, crying or anything like that. She's smart, intelligent, highly intelligent, Fox added. When I say highly intelligent, she was in the 1st grade reading on a 5th grade level. I mean, for there to be multiple stab wounds on both kids, it was very heartbreaking, the neighbor, Clay Connell added. No child deserves anything like that. A neighbor says Ganoe had told him directly that she was into witchcraft. She told me she liked to dip into witchcraft a little bit, said Clay Connell. A police community walk and a press conference was held on Thursday. It's just a horrific thing, Drew told a crowd of more than 50 people. Anytime we lose a child, it doesn't just affect the family. It's also the community, the residents, the officers that respond, the people that you work and go to school with. Drew said he and Assistant Police Chief Mike Grinstead went to visit the 8-year-old Tuesday at the hospital, where she's listed in critical but stable condition. We were able to get in and see her, Drew said. We stayed about 15 minutes. She was heavily sedated, and she had some stuffed animals around her, but I wanted to put eyes on her. I appreciate the hospital for allowing us to do that. Another of Sarah Ganoe's children, Salem Jade Fullerton, passed away unexpectedly as an infant in August 2012, according to a Daily Press obituary. After a police community walk Thursday, through the neighborhood on Hilltop Drive, north of Oakland Industrial Park, Drew said he was aware of the 2012 death, and wanted to make sure detectives covered all angles of the recent investigation. We will take a second look, he said. I'm not trying to insinuate in any way that we've opened another case, but I have just asked our detectives to go back and look at those reports. Donna Price, administrator for the State Medical Examiner's Office in Norfolk, said Friday that the 2012 autopsy lists Salem Ferguson's cause of death as sudden unexpected infant death associated with co-sleeping. The baby's prematurity was listed as a contributing factor in the death. The manner of death was listed as undetermined, she said. The medical examiner's office often lists deaths as natural, accidental, or the result of a suicide or homicide, but Price said undetermined is a standard ruling in sudden infant death cases. But, Price added, certainly if the police are looking at it again, and they ask us to look at it again, we will do the same thing. As for Zell Howard's death Monday, Price, the medical examiner's office has ruled the 10-month-old's death a homicide, the result of stab wounds to the torso. During Thursday's police community walk, Drew embraced John Howard, the father of the slain 10-month-old, and the child's grandparents, and others, offering condolences. He also visited a small memorial, including balloons, a teddy bear and other toys, outside the family's apartment, leaning down to make some adjustments. Sarah Ganoe stood before a judge on charges of second-degree murder, aggravated malicious wounding, and aggravated child abuse, as well as neglect Thursday in court. The court appointed an attorney on her behalf during the hearing. She will also have to undergo a competency evaluation. Her preliminary hearing is scheduled for August. Investigators say Sarah Ganoe admitted to stabbing her 10-month-old son, Zell Howard, to death, as well as critically injuring her 8-year-old daughter, Winter Ganoe, last week at their home. Winter is still recovering at Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters in Norfolk. It's been reported that she is doing much better and has even eaten waffles. As horrific as it is, mothers killing their children run parallel to suicide. It typically involves mothers who are depressed, has mental illness, and many of those mothers were being abused or had a history of abuse themselves. We need to have resources available and we need to be those children's voices. If you see something, call. If a child tells you something, call. If you feel something isn't quite right, don't ignore your gut instincts, call someone. An abuser's best friend is silence. Silence keeps the abuse going. Be the difference. The Child Help National Abuse Hotline is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. Call 1-8004-CHILD. If you enjoyed this story, and would like more stories like this one, please consider subscribing.